Hi, everyone, and welcome to Advisor Edge, the GVA Way, a podcast series created for financial advisors navigating the complexities of transitioning from a traditional firm or considering branching out independently for the first time. This podcast will deliver clarity and expertise by answering common questions and guiding you through the services and support GVA provides during the transition process. From establishing your brand to building a client base and managing compliance, we'll provide the insights and resources you need to thrive in your new venture. GVA is a full-service, technology-driven RIA. We are 170 advisors strong across 18 states. We provide asset management, compliance, billing, compensation, insurance, brokerage, 401k services, technology, and more to our advisors. And everything we do is scalable for us and you, as we place technology in the forefront. Perhaps what we hold to the highest regard is our dedication to the end user, our clients. We like to say we are a family of like-minded individuals who hold our clients' financial interests above our own. Thank you for joining us, and welcome to the GVA Way. All right, welcome to episode number 14, the GVA Way. I'm James Spinelli, founder and CEO of Great Valley Advisor Group. And on today's episode, we're going to talk about the distinctive client experience with Alex Weiss, who's the president and wealth manager of Napier Financial, one of our firms within the GVA universe. Alex, awesome to have you on the show.
James, thanks for having me, man. Excited to be here.
Yeah, we're happy to have you here. You flew in this morning?
Early. Got here early. Who knew?
Philly Airport can do that to you sometimes, man.
Rarely, but going on.
And you're leaving this afternoon, right?
Sure.
In and out real fast.
Got to see those kids tonight, man.
Got to see those kids. So, well, let's get started talking about the distinctive client experience, learning a little bit more about yourself. Sure. Your background will be really, really helpful for people to get kind of familiar with you, and then we'll dive right in.
Yeah, so I mean, the short version of the long story is I started as an intern at one of the large wirehouses during mid-2000s, and I graduated college and flipped to an employee during the financial crisis.
Ooh,
so
fun.
I came in at a very fascinating time, and then was at that wirehouse and learned that the culture was hard sales. They told you were going to be a business owner, but shame on me. Didn't really notice that for about just under a year, and then found where I am now, and I had a long journey to get there, and over the last 15 plus years now, we've built what is now Napier Financial.
Yeah, and over those 15 years, right, you had experiences that weren't just Napier Financial, right? You had the RIA exposure, you had the broker-dealer exposure, right? So you've learned a ton.
Totally.
And so you've probably taken all those things and said, how do we make the best use of that?
Absolutely.
Right, and so as we start, let's first dive into overall teams, right? Culture, and how you go about building the team that you've built. I mean, you have a great group of individuals that are part of it.
Sure do.
So what does that look like to you? And then we'll talk about insource, outsource, but let's just talk about that team that you've built there.
Yeah, so now we have about 14 people on the team. Wow. And how we build the team is, with the client experience always being the focus, is we build a fully integrated financial planning team with specialists. And we want to find people that get really excited about what they're doing every single day, and that they have a clear career path towards whatever's next in their personal and professional life. So when building out that set of specialists, we really try and uncover what our clients' needs are today, what they have going forward, and kind of set the stage for where the pain points are. You started a business one long day ago, right? And how many hats were you wearing at the time?
You got to wear them.
You got to wear them. But as you continue to grow, right? Yeah, exactly. As you continue to grow, you start wearing less hats, and you start getting more focused and specialized. But if you're doing it in a lane that you don't like, all of a sudden the client's not going to get the best experience. All of a sudden your coworkers aren't going to feel like they're loved as much as they were when you were jazzed up. So we really focus on building that team and what we call an enduring firm. And when we build that enduring firm, our goal is not to just serve clients today. Our goal is to actually replace ourselves with the next set of planners, leaders, and advisors, so that in theory, our clients never have to look for another financial planning firm ever again.
Absolutely.
And as you do that well, man, your clients are going to feel the love.
And they're going to feel it for sure, right? And I think that's why when you look at the firm today and you look at the individuals that are part of your firm, you can see that culture.
Absolutely.
And every time that you're bringing somebody new into the mix, you want to make sure that they truly understand what you stand for, how you've built it, and what it took to get there, right? I think that's an important piece. And I think that's a huge factor when you're connecting with other like-minded business owner, other individuals who've started their own financial advisory practices, right? As they build out their distinctive client experience, the end goal is to serve the client in the best interest. We all get that, right?
Totally.
But it's going to be slightly different.
Yeah.
And that's the name of the game, right?
Totally.
And it's so refreshing to see what you've built and how you've come about that. So when we think about the team members, right? You have 14 team members. What are some areas, or what's an area for you that you would say, all right, my team is really good at servicing these clients, right? And they're really good at providing that great experience. Maybe I have a team member, but I need additional help here or outsource that part of the business. What's something that you would look at?
Yeah, because when building a team, you really have, at the end of the day, decide what to insource and outsource,
Correct.
right? Because, we don't have endless amounts of capital to develop. So one thing and it's changed over that 15-year experience, I like to pick on marketing. It's a perfect example. When, ironically enough, we do both. We actually have someone, I call them full-time, part-time.
Yeah.
It's their only full-time job, but they have a family. So she works about 30 hours a week in the office. But we need to surround her by some other outsourced opportunities to make sure that we can actually fully implement it. So she actually plays quarterback for the team that helps us build and develop our strategies, everything from, we do a big charity golf outing for the Jimmy Fund, not the Jimmy Fund, Dana-Farber Cancer Research, every single year.
I've been there. It's a great event. Great event.
But it's a huge lift.
Yes.
She couldn't do that by herself,
No.
so she needs other people to help outsource stuff. We're rolling out marketing campaigns. We're working on some of our content. She can't do it all. So she's partnered up with other people in the space to then help implement that. Everything from recording to helping with compliance to making sure everything is posted on time. And again, that's one small portion of a whole marketing thing because she helps make us look, feel the way that we want to present to the world. And that's a full-time job of multiple people that we outsourced early on when I was here, but now we're continuing to bring more stuff in-house so we can control the process just a little bit more.
Just a little bit more.
Just a little bit more. And every firm is different, right? That might be something that's not as important to someone. They can outsource that for a very long time, and they bring something else in-house that's faster.
Sure.
And more creative to their client experience.
And I think that looking at the outsourced channel, I'm actually going to also piggyback on that and say marketing for us is huge, right? Think about the podcast we're on right now. We've got Camos Media here with Jeff Spinelli. We've got advisory that helps us in certain areas. We have event planners when we do our event, and it's just there's certain things you're just not going to be able to handle in-house, and there's individuals that specialize in that space specifically. As you build out your team, how do you? I can tell you right now, the feedback I get, I can just feel certain areas that I'm like, we need to emphasize this area. We need to focus in on this, right? And I think that drives ultimately the experience that the client has as well, right? Because maybe there's something that becomes more personalized than, we're putting an event together, it might be an event for all our advisors, but maybe I want to personalize something else. You get a sense of that as well, like with what you're doing and the personalization and how that translates to who's on the team and how that client experiences that as well?
Yeah, you can go back to marketing, but you can, for us, it's really about like that financial planning deliverable. When you talk about that experience, it's what we try and build and what we've done successfully over the last handful of years is you have to have a process that you make sure that no stone is unturned. Even though some parts are not applicable to some, you have to make sure it's not. You have to ask the question, you have to go through the process, and then make sure that that customization happens somewhere in there because of the feedback. The process is the same, the inputs are all different, and therefore the output has to be customized.
Absolutely.
You can only do that in our part where we focus so heavily on making sure our planners plan and our planners do it, so we fill in that operational support, fill in that marketing support behind them. That's really a key focus of what we insource, and we'll refuse to outsource at any point in time.
It's a weird area. Honestly, I see these outsourced opportunities for financial planning, and it just, I think that's one area that if I was to look into and say to myself, I don't know how you can possibly outsource that.
And control the experience.
Totally. Right?
Totally.
Because that's just like the highest touch point you could possibly have for the client.
But don't forget, not everyone's a fully integrated financial planning team. They might just be investment management only, and that might work for them.
And that might work. You're right. Yeah, you're right. So maybe there is the outsourcing component there. That's a good point. So
maybe.
But shifting that, right? So if we shift the personalization, if we think about the outsourcing, if we think about what's involved with that, we could then jump into what's referred to as, everybody refers to in this universe, as their tech stack.
Yep.
Right? So let's talk technology and how that can impact in a positive or a negative way.
Yeah.
From a personalization standpoint and that client experience, right?
Sure.
So we were joking before we obviously got on here about Jump AI,
yep.
right? And we can talk about what Jump AI and how that incorporates into the business. But what would be one area that you would say, forget about the financial planning piece, where you'd say, man, I don't really know if that would make sense for technology to take over this world for us. And
Yeah, it's, oh man, like which one would, so I was, not to say fearful of AI, I thought AI, a lot of people thought AI would, quote, take our jobs, right?
Yeah.
And they thought that the robo-advisor would as well.
Yeah.
But what it hasn't is that when times get tough, people want to talk person to person at the end of the day. What we found is leveraging something like Jump AI can actually help consolidate the follow-up process as we're unleashing that power right now. And what does it actually allow us to do? Connect better with the person in the meeting. So I'm not sitting there writing down notes and, oh my gosh, you forgot that. Can you repeat that again? It's like, no, there's something, not someone now, here, that's all they're doing. Yeah. And we still take it in. We don't just blindly send it out. We still customize that. So we try and utilize that part of AI in our business to make sure it just continues to elevate the client experience. Now, what are some things I would try and stay away from? Is you got to be very particular on your deliverables on your financial planning software itself.
Yes.
You really need to understand it, because if you outsource the financial planning, that aspect, and someone has incorrect assumptions, what if we disagree on the inflation rate? What if you disagree on the investment rate of return? What about spending? What about, there's so many factors that go into financial projections. You tell someone to retire early when they shouldn't, or retire too late and they could have had the ability to retire earlier. Yeah. Like those are some huge life decisions, and that's, you got to have oversight, and having some version of an outsourcer or a bot or something helping you out could actually garbage in, garbage out, right, James?
Correct.
And you got to be very careful on making sure that's implemented. Something that we really focus on making sure that is done at a firm level, making sure we all agree, like, hey guys, inflation is not like a random number. What do we agree? What's our posture on inflation? It was not a hot topic for, it is a hot topic for the past 2 years, but 10 years prior to that it was kind of boring, but we still had a very strong stance on it.
Sure.
So you got to really make sure that your inputs you have defendable inputs in your financial planning. You need to have control of that process.
Got it. And then that goes to the whole team understanding that. That goes to what the clients are, expect of you as the, as their lead planner, right? When they come in, that's what they're going to be looking for you on. And so I think we'll round this out with saying, your goal as you start to swim into you're in the high net worth space, not swim into it, right? And that's what you're in, high net worth, ultra high net worth.
That's our lane, we're sticking to it.
That's your lane, you're sticking to it. So the white glove experience it has to happen from where you're standing, right? Because not only are you dealing with individuals on a daily basis, you're probably dealing with business owners quite a bit. Yep. I'm sure there's a lot of trusts that are involved in the process, in the planning process, and how that looks like too. So there are other cooks in the kitchen along with yourself and the other team members, right? So I'm assuming there's like estate planning, right? And so if you were to just go back and look at how you built that team of people that you've come to trust to help your clients out for the best possible experience, what's some words of wisdom that you would give to someone looking into it?
Well, first you have to have an area of a mechanism for accountability. Yeah. So really in our world, that's a CRM system, right? You have to make sure that you are not sitting in a room doing everything in a little box and expect people to read your mind. So you have to make sure that you're putting your notes where people can see them. People know what's happening when you're not in the room. You're a closed door conversation. People need to know everything. So you you have to trust people to share everything. And when I say everything, I mean everything. Second, you also we like to lead with our chin. So when we're having clients do certain investments for the first time, they're working with a certain attorney, they're working with a certain insurance agent or something like that. Do you know who's typically doing it first? One of the partners in the partnership group. Yeah. We're going to make sure that we understand the experience first ourselves personally before we actually recommend a client there. And that has helped a lot. Then we also build those specialists around us, because if, let's pick on, hiring an attorney. You're going to have an attorney that does your closing, that does your estate plan, that helps with your business succession plan, that helps with business litigation and an HR issue. It's like, woo! You might want the same firm because they have specialists.
Yes.
But how they do that is they communicate really well and make sure that when they know they're not the right person, they bring the correct person in the room.
Yes.
So building that trust it takes time, and it doesn't happen overnight, but it really starts with accountability. And one of the things that we really drive home with our team and our staff from the very first day that they start, follow up and follow through. If you don't follow up and follow through, you're going to have a hard time staying on the team, because that's what clients expect that are very successful. And they hire us because they need to outsource the task.
And that adds to their overall client experience with the firm, with your brand that you have built. So if someone's not following up, that's not the best look for the overall brand recognition and the awareness that you've worked so hard to build over these years and build this business, build this enterprise value. And that's something that personally as a business owner, truly come to respect, because it is not easy. It is a very hard experience for those out there who are like saying, hey, is this something I want to do? Do I want to build to a team of 14? Maybe I want to build a team of 3, right? And then more is outsourced. There's nothing wrong with it.
No.
It's just a different way of building a business.
Yeah, and it depends on like the clientele that you're working with, right?
Correct.
Our clientele they have really high expectations of us because they have really complex issues, and we need to bring specialists in. And me, no different than you, James. I have 168 hours a week.
Yeah.
Take away the time to hang out with my family, whom I love.
Yeah.
Take the time that just for myself, sleeping, bathing, normal necessities of living. Maybe I work out now and then.
Yeah.
There's only so many hours left, right?
Yeah,
There's only so many hours left, so you have to make sure to deliver that experience. It just can't be you. And the other part of that is part of the reason it just can't be me. What if I didn't wake up for breakfast and it was only me?
Correct.
So we have really built our team to make ourselves not dependent on one single person. Even though they have a point person, they might have a favorite because of a personality or just preference because they know the person longer. They know that if I don't wake up for breakfast, that there's a team of people that will make sure that they do not skip a beat. Outside of throwing one hell of a party for me, they're not going to skip a beat.
They're not going to skip a beat. So as we close it down, give us a fun fact. Give us something about Alex that the listeners would love to learn about, the viewers would love to learn about. What do we have? Give us something.
The one fun fact, you want a professional or personal one?
I don't know. You can do both.
Well, I got an oddball for you because, first of all, I was a math major, so I'm a nerd.
Yep.
Bryant, I was a Bryant grad.
Yep.
They are in the big dance, 15 seed. Let's go.
There you
But I actually went to the state science fair my junior year of high school.
Okay.
So I came in first place at the high school.
Wow.
I won top 3 in regional, and I went to the state science fair. And then the person next to me was like curing cancer, so I didn't win.
Yeah. That's a fun fact. I don't think I actually knew that.
Not a lot of people do.
Very cool. All right.
And then I'm also 1 of 9. And a lot of people don't know I'm 1 of 9. I'm number 8 or number 9 in a blended family.
Which is, I feel like the reason we connect so well, because my wife is the youngest of 8.
Yeah.
And it's that large of a family. It's an experience for sure. I remember the first time I spent some time, I was blown away by how many people were out in the room and all the activity and the kids running around. I'm just 1 of 2, so it's not
much different experience.
It's a much different experience.
Especially when you're not the baby.
Especially, yeah. So, but anyway, we appreciate you coming down from Boston, joining us today.
Come anytime.
Hope you have a safe flight back, and I hope everyone learned a thing or two about the distinctive client experience here. And thanks again for joining us.
Thanks, James.
Yeah. The opinions voiced in this podcast are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which strategies or investments may be suitable for you, consult the appropriate qualified professional prior to making a decision.